Assalamu alaikum, welcome back everyone. It's Mr. Kamal speaking. You are welcome. Today I will focus on vector operations and we will learn with each other how can we deal with the real problems about vectors. Okay, at the beginning I will set some concepts and some rules to understand how can we deal with the problems of vectors. Okay, at the beginning guys, of course you understand that the easiest way to deal with the problems in one-dimensional motion. Okay, if we have at the beginning, if we have an object like that, okay, this is the easier way to understand the displacement, to find the displacement, okay, in one dimension. Okay, suppose that guys, we have an object moves like that, 10 meters, and come back again for 3 meters and moves again like that more 10 meters. Okay, now and suppose that is the negative this is the negative direction and that is the positive direction, or that is west and here that is east. Okay, now I think most of you understand that how can we find the displacement and distance for this object. Okay, now here he asked you about the distance and displacement. Okay, now the distance here, the distance as I told you before, the distance will be all of the movement without direction. That is the distance. It's a scalar quantity. Now 10 plus 3 plus 10 without direction guys, without direction, okay, equals 23 meters without direction. You don't write here anything, don't write east, west or something else, no direction here. Okay, but displacement, it will be opposite. But when we speak about the displacement will be different. Now as you see here, the 10 in the positive direction, or in the east direction, and the 3 in the other side, here in the west or in the negative direction, and here also positive. It will be like that. Okay, 10 meters minus 3 meters plus 10 meters equals 17 meters to the east. Okay, because it will equal positive at the end. Okay, to the east. Can you see that guys? Now displacement, we have magnitude and direction. And I think that's very easy to understand, that to find the resultant or the displacement from in one-dimensional motion. Okay, but now the second point we will talk about what about the two-dimensional motion? What does it mean? It means if we have an object that is the y-axis and that is an x-axis, and the object will move like that. That is the two-dimensional motion. How can we find that? At the beginning guys, I will set some concepts to understand how can we deal with these problems in two-dimensional motion. Now guys, we said that before. That is the length of the line, that is the magnitude. Suppose that that is 300 meters. Okay, now that is the magnitude of this vector, and here that is the direction. That angle we will call this angle is theta. Now theta, that is the direction or this vector of this vector. Okay, suppose this theta equals 45 degrees. Okay, 45 degrees. Okay, now let's write this vector. This vector equals 300 meters and direction 45 degrees north of east. Why north of east? If the angle beside x start from y, if the angle beside y start from x, like that. Okay, now 45 northeast. If you speak about the angle here, it will be, for example, suppose that the 45 also 45 east north, like that. Okay, now that is the magnitude, and that is the direction. That is the direction. Okay, now the question is, how can we find the resultant, that is the resultant of vector, and how can we find the direction? Which rules we will use to find the magnitude and the direction, or to find the resultant and the direction? Okay, before talking about to find the magnitude or resultant and the magnitude and the direction, I will set some concepts to understand that very well. All of our problems, we'll talk about that now. Talk about the triangle, okay? And suppose that that is the direction, or that is the theta, or that is the angle, okay? And that is the perpendicular angle here, okay? That is the triangle we will deal with, and that is the x and y, as you know, okay? That is x and y, as you know. Okay, now let's set some names for these sides. Of course, this is the perpendicular angle, and that is the angle or direction we will speak about. Sometimes the angle will be here, no problem, okay? But in this diagram, I'll speak about, suppose that the angle will be here. Now guys, the names, the side opposite of the perpendicular angle, it's called hypotenuse. Hypotenuse side or hypotenuse leg, okay? And the side opposite of the angle, or in front of the angle, that's called opposite leg, okay? And the other side beside the angle, that's called adjacent. That's called adjacent. Okay, now we have hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent. Okay, now which rule we will use to find this one? Now we are speaking about the resultant, okay? The resultant, and the angle, it will be this another thing. Okay guys, now which rule or which method we will use to find the magnitude or to find the resultant? Okay, now at first, to find the resultant, we will use very famous method that called Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem. Listen to me. Pythagorean theorem. That's called Pythagorean theorem. As I told you guys, this theorem talking about the triangle. Pythagorean theorem states that for any right angle triangle, the square of the hypotenuse equals that the sum of two squares of other sides. What does it mean? Suppose that is C, that is A, that is B. The square area equals that. C, suppose that all that C, of course. Now C squared equals A squared plus B squared. If we want to find C, we will take a square root for both sides, equals like that. C equals square root A squared plus B squared. That is the rule, guys, we will use to find resultant, or to find the magnitude, or to find the displacement. Okay, now that is the first thing we will talk about it. Okay, now the second part is to find. Now we want to find the direction, to find the direction, as I told you guys again. Now we are talking about that right angle triangle. We are talking about right angle triangle. Okay, and that is the perpendicular angle, and that is the angle, and that is the hypotenuse, okay, and that is opposite, and that is the adjacent. Okay, now to find the direction, now that is theta, guys. Okay, now we will find something called tangent. Yes, we will find the tangent, T silent, tangent. Okay, the rule or the equation is like that. Okay, tan theta equals opposite divided by adjacent. Opposite divided by adjacent. That is the rule. Okay, now the question is, we want to theta. How can you find theta? Now theta equals tan -1 opposite divided by adjacent. Okay, now how can we write tan theta on the calculator? Okay, we can write it like that. Okay, press shift and tan, shift tan. Okay, it will written like that, tan -1. Okay, yeah, to write tan -1 or tan -1, you write shift tan like that, guys. Okay, now let's answer a problem to understand more about that. This simple problem about to find the magnitude and direction. Okay, archaeologists climbed the Great Pyramid in Giza, Egypt. The pyramid height is 136 meters. To understand the problem and to answer the problem very well, you should to understand the diagram, and you should to draw the problem of all vectors. You should to draw it very well. Okay, now let's take the drawing of this. The drawing of these guys, it will be like that. The pyramid Giza, suppose that. Okay, and he tell you that now here the height, it will be 136 meters. Okay, that is the height as you see here. Okay, let's complete. And its width is 2.3 times 10 squared meters. It means 230 meters. Okay, it means 230 meters. Now all of the width from here to there equals 230 meters. Aha, look over, guys. As I told you, all of our questions should to be on the right angle triangle, because that, guys, if we have all of this pathway from here to there 230, just this part from here to there, it will be the half of this way. It equals approximately 230 divided by 2 equals 115 meters. Now we have this part equals 115 meters. Now the adjacent 115 and the opposite is 136 meters. Okay, now what he want in this question? He want the magnitude and the direction of the displacement. Okay, now he want the magnitude and the direction. It means like that. He want the magnitude, this one, okay, and the direction, that is the direction. Okay, now he want this and the direction. This question, as you see here, this is very simple, but the point is, how can you draw and how can you understand the something he want from the drawing? Okay, you should to draw to understand the problem. Okay, now we will use the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem said that C equals square root a squared plus b squared, that is a, that is b, like that. A squared 115 squared plus 136 squared equals approximately 178.1 meters. That is the magnitude. Okay, that is the magnitude. Okay, now what about direction? What about direction? As I told you guys, now the direction theta equals tan negative 1 opposite divided by adjacent. Okay, that is the rule. Okay, what is the opposite? 130 tan minus 1 negative 1 136 divided by 115 equals approximately 49.8 degrees. Okay, now as you see here guys, that is the theta. Here that's not necessary to write east north and like that, because the this angle away from the x and y, but we can to explain it more, that is the x, that is the x, and that is y here. Okay, because that we will write it like that, northeast, northeast. Okay, to understand more, let's answer another question. Look for this question we have here. While flowing of the direction on the treasure map, a barrier walks 45 meter north. Okay, to draw the problem very important. Okay, now 45 to the north, that is the 45 meters to the north. Okay, and turns and walks 7.5 east, like that. Okay, 7.5 east. Okay, what is this the single straight line displacement? He wants the displacement here, the hypotenuse, that is the perpendicular angle, and that is the hypotenuse. He wants this one, and he wants the direction. Okay guys, here as you see here, that is the x and y, that is x and y, like that. Okay, that is the direction, that is the direction. Okay, now let's write by the same way I told you before. C, that it means C, that is the C, I means the magnitude or the displacement. C equals the square root 45 squared plus 7.5 squared equals 45.6 meters. That is the magnitude or displacement. What about direction? Direction like that, theta tan negative 1 opposite divided by adjacent. Okay, where is the opposite? Now that is the opposite guys, be careful, that is the opposite and that is the adjacent. Now tan negative 1 7.5 divided by 45 equals, in calculator, 9.5 degrees. Now east north, east of north, east of north. Okay, I hope you understand this part, and when you answer some question again or more questions, you can understand more. If you have any question, please send for me in the comments under the video or in WhatsApp. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.